You're tuned in to Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. It's Thursday, the 21st of August, 2025, and I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Glad to have you start the day with us.
All right, and I'm Samson Balogun. We are set to brighten your morning with news, analysis, and conversations that truly matter. Wherever you are watching from, we hope your week's been going well, and we are here to keep that energy alive.
To begin, we'll bring you Daybreak News, a sharp roundup of today's top stories from Nigeria and across the globe.
Right after that comes newspaper headlines and analysis. We'll go through the front pages and break down the big issues shaping the national conversation. Expect clarity, insight, and straight talk.
Later, we shift gears into the big story, the service year dilemma, delays, shortcomings, and the way forward. We'll take a hard look at the NYSC scheme, the disruptions and frustrations many core members face, and what reforms could make it work better.
All right, joining us for that conversation is Comrade Mark Adebayo, a well-known activist and commentator. Together, we'll unpack the challenges and consider how the service year can be reshaped to truly serve both the nation and the young Nigerians.
It's a conversation you don't want to miss, thought-provoking, timely, and focused on solutions.
And that's just one part of the show. Later on, Trend Watch will bring you the pulse of Nigeria, from social buzz to everyday street conversations.
So whether you're heading out, already on the move, or easing into your morning, please stay with us.
Yes, and this is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. We are just getting started. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Samson.
Good to be with you again on the show this
Definitely.
morning. Interestingly, there are so many things to talk about on the show.
Of course.
And that has a lot to do with the call from a certain body that there should be an upward review for salaries and emoluments for public office holders. And then there are so many reactions from the people. Is this the next line of action? Should we go into this right now when Nigerians are visibly suffering? And when you check the poverty index in the country, people will ask questions. I mean, there are some things that are so insensitive at some points that people really should not be talking about. And oftentimes, when you talk about how much a public office holders, senators, House of Reps members, put together office allowance, clothing allowance, furniture allowance. If you put all that together, that amounts to millions and millions of naira compared to what an average Nigerian takes home on a monthly basis, especially civil servants. Then the minimum wage is just 70,000 naira. So if you put that side by side, I mean, one outweighs the other. And Nigerians are complaining about the sudden, rationale behind the increase, upward review of their salaries. I
think you're very spot on, and I have a report here from Daily Trust that was posted, in June, that says federal government approves 114% salary increase for Tinubu, Shettima, governors and others. That was in 2023, shortly after the president came in. So that was done. So you begin to ask, this all, let us increase it again in 2025. Is it that Nigerians, have that resources, but when it comes to some certain things, we don't have resources? So the question now is, I think we have resources, not a question now, but sometimes the resources does not serve the people. Because, I mean, you spoke about the allowances that they collect. Let's also talk about the travel allowances. You know, some of these senators, ministers, some of them travel, you know, for severally in a year, and then they take out of the purse of the country. So when are we going to start looking at how to actually benefit the lives of Nigerians? I'll cite another example that I have here. You know, the Captain Ibrahim Traore cut the cost of leadership. I'm sure you know that president.
Yeah, right.
You know, and the salary of every minister involved in the government, including politicians, and he maintained his own salary as a captain, but increased the salary of workers just to boost the economy of Burkina Faso. You know, those are the areas that we should begin to look at. How can we benefit the people? Yes, these people, they are collecting that salary, you know, for a long time now, but all of the allowances that they collect outweighs even the salary. It's bigger than the salary when you look at it. So you just spoke about, you know, the new minimum wage that was just increased. That still does not cater for the needs of the people. I
think we were speaking to someone on this show and said it's not about, we should not be talking about minimum wage, we should talk about the living wage. How much will be enough in this economy, will be enough for an average Nigerian to survive? That is what we should be thinking about, not how much do we want to pay you. But then, let's put that aside. I think this is just a pointer, that particular news is just a pointer that Nigeria can actually afford to treat Nigerians right. But the point is, do we have the political will to do it? That's the point. So if we don't have the political will to do it, it means that Nigerians will always be at the mercy of Nigeria as a country. And who is Nigeria? Who are the Nigerians? It is still Nigerians living in Nigeria. So the point is, if they have voted in a crop of leaders to actually take charge, of course, be at the ends of affairs, either by selection or by election. If you are there, it means that your job is to look inward and see how we can better the lives of Nigerians and not make it worse. And if you are just thinking about yourself, I think the political class in Nigeria, they are just about just a little bit under 5% of what we have in the economy. In fact, when we talk, not just the political class, let's say people at the corridor of power, either by selection or by election, they are well under 5%. So if you are concerned about how much you take home and not concerned about how Nigerians will survive, then there is a problem with leadership, and that is one thing that should be corrected. I'm not saying there cannot be upward review of what political leaders or probably people at the corridor of power take home, but what I'm saying is the first thing that should be priority is the well-being, lives and properties of average Nigerians. If that is taken care of, and you want to increase your own take home, I mean, nobody will talk about that. But then you can see the outcry, that the backlash that came after, you know, the sudden announcement that there will be an upward review of what they take home. People are really not confident in what the government is doing. Not just now, it has been like that from time immemorial. Will the government be able to do the right thing for the Nigerian people? I think that is what we should be looking at. I think you're spot on. If the economy is buoyant, why not? Take for instance, maybe an industry or someone who decides to hire people and then they are making, you know, more profit, you know, day by day. You know, which time that person will be willing to do what? Right. I mean, to scale up the people. But in an economy that, you know, the people are suffering. There was a report I read about some weeks ago that about 130 million Nigerians are still suffering to feed, you know, to complete, you know, morning, afternoon, and evening food. So these bodies that are interested in increasing the salaries of these people, are they not seeing all of those reports? You know, because that's why when we say Nigeria is still underdeveloped, they are not talking about how we are being projected in the global space. But it's all about the politicians. So I don't see it as a bad thing, but in as much as you're trying to better the lives of the politicians who are not obviously suffering, can you also look at the side of the Nigerians, the commoners, you know, who cry on the street every day? The teachers are there. Some of them are still complaining about how much they've been paid per month. Even the increase, yes, there's something, but can something better be done? I mean, those are the things that we should begin to look at. Obviously, if the economy becomes buoyant, they can always do that. But then let them take into consideration the lives of every Nigerians as well. Yeah, obviously. I think Nigeria has the resources. The only thing that is left is the political will to get things done. Yeah. And then that takes us away from this segment of the show this morning. We're on a short break, and when we return, we'll take the weather report on this show. We'll be back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still The Break Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. All right, so you can link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel. Drop your comments. We'll surely take them on this show at Dominion Broadcast. Watch us live too on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. All right, welcome back. We'll now take weather reports on this show. And of course, we are straight to Abuja, the FCT this morning, as it feels like 22 degrees Celsius in Abuja this morning. Of course, by afternoon, it is expected to drop to 26 degrees Celsius. And evening, 23 degrees Celsius. Overnight, it will be around 22 degrees Celsius. So by morning, 42% chances of showers. In the afternoon, scattered thunderstorms, around 55% chance. And in the evening, it is expected to be showering in Abuja by 41%. Of course, later overnight, there will be showers in the FCT. So if you are in Abuja this morning, your umbrella will be handy. Yeah.
All right, let's cross over to Kano, and of course, weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius, and in the afternoon is expected to come to 29 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy around 14%. In the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 18%. Of course, overnight, 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 23%. That's what we have for Kano State this morning. Do all to prepare for that in case you'll be heading out.
Okay, in Ekiti, this morning is expected to be around 22 degrees Celsius. Of course, mostly cloudy, 20%, and in the afternoon is expected to rise to 25 degrees Celsius with isolated thunderstorms. In the evening, it's expected to drop back to 22 degrees Celsius, which will be cloudy, and overnight, 21 degrees Celsius, also cloudy in Ekiti State this today.
All right, let's cross over. No, we are not crossing over. We are in Ibadan, southwest. Weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius, and of course, in the afternoon is expected to go up to 27 degrees Celsius. Rain around 72%. That's serious. Please prepare for that adequately. And of course, in the evening, it will come down to 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 19%. Overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 11%. That's what we have for Ibadan. Do well to prepare for that.
And in Kaduna this morning, it feels like 21 degrees Celsius in Kaduna. And by later in the morning, it will be around 24 degrees Celsius. By afternoon, it will be 26 degrees Celsius with thunderstorms around in Kaduna. By evening, it will drop to 22 degrees Celsius with showers expected around 49%. And overnight, it will be around 21 degrees Celsius with the cloud. It will be cloudy in Kaduna today.
All right, now we are crossing over to Ilorin, but still in southwest. This morning, it feels like 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 10%. In the afternoon, it will go up around 27 degrees Celsius, showers around 40%. In the evening, it will come down to 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 15%. And overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy, around 11%. That's what we have for Ilorin. this morning.
Okay, and in Abeokuta, Ogun State this morning, it feels like 23 degrees Celsius, expected to rise to around 25 degrees Celsius later in the morning. And by afternoon, it is expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius, with rain expected around 77%. And in the evening, it will drop back to 24 degrees Celsius, which is expected to be cloudy. And but overnight, it will be 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. So that's what we have for Ogun in Abeokuta this morning.
Let's cross over to Port Harcourt. Rivers. Weather this morning feels like 21 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 13%. In the afternoon, it will go up to around 26 degrees Celsius. A thunderstorm around 64%. In the evening, it will come down again to 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 16%. And overnight, 21 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 17%.
And in Lagos State, the Center of Excellence this morning, it feels like 24 degrees Celsius, expected to rise to 23 degrees Celsius later in the morning, mostly cloudy. And in the afternoon, it's expected to rise to 27 degrees Celsius, also cloudy. By evening, 25 degrees Celsius, and overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in Lagos, the Center of Excellence this morning. And that takes us away from this segment of the show. This morning, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll take the news on this. That we'll be back.
Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV. Make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Samson Balogun. The Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Hajia Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, has disclosed that over 7 million adolescent girls and women in Nigeria suffer from undernutrition. Hajia stated that 55% of this population are affected by anemia, a condition that can be worsened by poor menstrual hygiene and lack of affordable sanitary products. The minister disclosed this in a statement made at the end of a meeting where the federal government, in collaboration with stakeholders, validated and adopted Nigeria's first national policy on menstrual health and hygiene management. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has said that the various challenges facing soldiers will be addressed squarely. He stated that with the support of President Bola Tinubu's administration are making joint efforts to make life better for the soldiers and their families. Oluyede stated this while answering questions from newsmen at the end of a 3-day visit to the headquarters of the Nigerian Army 6th Division in Port Harcourt. During the visit, the Army Chief commissioned several projects, addressed troops, and interacted with critical stakeholders in the Niger Delta region. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced that eligible voters who pre-registered during the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise cannot obtain their permanent voters card, PVC, outside the office of the Commission. INEC Director of ICT, Boyede Lawrence stated that the PVC could not be issued after pre-registration process because the biometrics of each eligible voter would have to be done physically at designed INEC offices. Bayode urged that while applicants can fill out and upload some of their information online, physical presence at the INEC registration centers remains mandatory to complete the process and ensure the authenticity of the voter's data. The Olubadan designate Oba Rashidi Ladoja will be crowned as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oyo State capital, at the coronation ceremony slated for Friday, 26 September 2025. Dominion News gathered that his nomination has been approved by the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, also confirming that the state delegation met with Ladoja and other members of the Olubadan Council at his Bodija residence. The media head to Oba Ladoja, Chief Adekola Oloko, confirmed the developments to Dominion News when contacted, noting that Oba Ladoja will be enthroned as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land on Friday, 26 September 2025. The ceremony is scheduled to be held in the ancient Mako Hall in Ibadan. Traditional worshippers around the globe have been urged to unite in love and oneness to advance their religion. The president of traditional worshippers in Oyo State, Omekumi Egbelade, made this call during this year's Isheshe Day celebration held in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State. Devotees of various Yoruba deities were encouraged to view the occasion not merely as a celebration, but as a daily practice rooted in truth, righteousness, and harmony with nature and the spirit. Grace Aino reports.
The event was a vibrant gathering as traditional worshippers from across Oyo State came together in Ibadan to commemorate this year's Isheshe Day, which is celebrated annually throughout the southwest states of Nigeria. During the celebration, various religious leaders emphasized the importance of unity among traditional worshippers.
We should be making peace and truthful, especially the politicians. They should be able to tell the truth to their community. And, by telling the truth to the community and making the peace, that is why we can move in one umbrella.
To recognize Isheshe as a religion, as a way of life,
which we need both at home, in our area, in our towns, in our cities, in the state, and in Nigeria as a whole.
For we Yoruba to celebrate Isheshe Day, because we believe in Isheshe, we believe in our ancestors, we believe in the idols that our ancestors are worshipping then, and we believe in their lineage.
The Oyo State government has committed to providing ongoing support for traditional worshippers.
It is known for peace, so we want to strengthen that peaceful coexistence that we are enjoying in Oyo State. You understand? So, and the only way is that if each religious believers, religious adherents, the religious leaders adhere strictly to and embrace peace.
Isheshe Day is a significant cultural and spiritual celebration in Yoruba culture. It is observed every August 20th to honor the traditional Yoruba religion, ancestors, and deities. Aino Grace, Dominion News.
The National Insurance Commission, NICOM, has initiated efforts to rid the country of fake third-party motor vehicle insurance certificates, following the discovery that a large number of motorists still operate with counterfeit documents. NICOM officials, in collaboration with security agencies, confiscated fake documents being issued to motorists during a raid at the Vehicle Inspection Office VIO headquarters in Abuja. Head of Market Development at NICOM, Adeyemi Abubakar, announced that the exercise was in response to a directive from the Inspector General of Police mandating strict compliance with third-party motor vehicle insurance across the country. And in sport, Nigeria Premier League Football League side NPFL Warri Wolves has completed the signing of 12 new players for the 2025-2026 season. The newly recruited players are Oga Akpam, Gift Isiom, Justus Oanu, Ekene Olisema, Otuke Hebo, Edafe Kator, Oladeji Israel, Third Mayi, Adebambo Ade, Oji Martins, Ogbu Chisom, and Basi. The Seasiders will square up against Katsina United in the opening fixture of the new season, with the encounter to take place at the Mohammed Diko Stadium in Katsina. The 2025-2026 season will begin on Friday, 22nd of August. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. That's the break news. I am Samson Balogun.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Now we'll take you through the headlines on the pages of the newspaper, and of course, we'll make sense of all the stories with analysis shortly after. All right, we'll start with Daily Independent this morning. Suspended planned pay rise for political office holders. That's a story is coming from ADC, says it's an affront against struggling Nigerians. At least we spoke about this earlier this morning as regards why public office holders who have an upward review on their take-home monthly. Of course, that is one issue that will be discussed after when we take analysis on this show this morning. Away from there, Tinubu seeks 2 seats for Africa at UN Security Council. All right, I think it is quite important that Africa has a more seat on the Security Council in the world, judging about the fact that most areas are affected by security challenges. Actually, Africa has a huge percentage in that, and also he lauds the Nigerian military for taming insecurity. Japanese PM pledges $5.5 billion support for Africa. You will find that story on Daily Independent this morning. All right, away from there, we take this one. Industries shutting down due to epileptic power supply. That's coming from ECN. Of course, it is quite important to note that power is one of the major backbone of industries in Nigeria. So if a country wants to be a producing economy, one of the major things that has to be readily available, aside from security, which is an enabling environment, power is very, very key. And I think the federal government, coming from the ECN this morning, industry is shutting down due to epileptic power supply. All right, we'll take another one on Daily Independent this morning. Nigeria at TICAD 9 Summit for Strategic Engagement, not Trade Expos. That's coming from the presidency, okay? The president is actually out of the country, making efforts to make Nigeria one of the countries to reckon with around the world. Makinde Oke's Ladoja's nomination as the 44th Olubadan peaks September 26 as Coronation Day. All right, the Ibadan was agog yesterday when the announcement was made that the governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has actually okayed the Olubadan designate Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, shortly after the passing of Oba Aige Olakuleyi, who was the 43rd Olubadan of Ibadan land. Away from there, Zamfara by-election, PDP raises the alarm over plots to subvert people's will. You'll find that story on page 7 of the Daily Independent this morning. And of course, there's a story on the left bottom, Ojulari hints on revamping ailing refineries. I think the country has spent so much money on the revamping Nigeria's refineries, and till now, it hasn't really worked optimally. And I feel, okay, if more money is spent in this, how sure will Nigerians be that these particular refineries, will actually come up and work effectively? Pengassan decries continuous gas flaring. This is one thing that has not been addressed in the country, especially when it comes to refineries in Nigeria. Gas flaring has always been an issue, and I hope that going forward, if the refineries are revamped, maybe at this time there will not be gas flaring. PDP to Wike, you were duly invited for next meeting. That story is on page 6, and of course that's the story on the lower third of the Daily Independent this morning, saying we invited you for the NEC meeting, but of course you were not there. It is no longer news that he was visibly missing at the NEC meeting where things were decided, especially things that concern the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria. But the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, who is also a stakeholder in the PDP, was visibly missing in that meeting. Of course, you'll find that story. You can read more on page 6 of the Daily Independent this morning. We now move over to News Direct as we take this story on the top left corner. Gbenga Daniel kicks as Ogun APC suspends embattled senator. I mean, all around the country, from one political party to the other, there are so many issues to address, and basically, also in Ogun State, there are a little bit of crisis in the APC, and I do hope that that will be sorted out, especially with the intervention of the president and stakeholders in the political party. Mixed reactions trail Tinubu's Japan visit as Nigerians decry empty booths at summit. Japan pledges $5.5 billion fund to Africa. I think the presidency actually renounced that. They came out to say, look, we're not there to do a kind of trade expo. We're there for a summit, which is strategic to the development of the country. So if we are not getting it that way, probably there's something else there. So it has to be constructive. If there's going to be a criticism that's coming from the presidency, that we were not there for trade expo. We are going there. We were there for strategic meetings. Away from there, this morning, T2 launches first ever eKYC SIM registration for Nigerians. Also on the Nigerian News Direct this morning, FG Code enforces removal of 58 million social media posts in 2024. Google, Microsoft, TikTok lead compliance. I mean, news broke yesterday that some posts were taken down under the instruction of the federal government on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Microsoft also. They have now complied with what the federal government actually wants them to do. Rearrest me. Sam Larry orders over Mohbad's death. Naira Marley DS police demands fresh probe to clear lingering doubts. Okay, recently some music news outlets have actually come out to say, look, though we suspended your songs, which we considered as NTBB on our platform, but for now, the ban will be lifted. And some media houses, even in Ibadan, actually came out to say that. And we do hope that this actually is sorted out as soon as possible as regards the controversy surrounding the death and the passing of the musician Mohbad. Right there. Away from there, we take the Matrix this morning. TCAD 9. Tinubu targets $1 billion investment opportunities. Nigeria's participation focusing on strategic engagement, not trade expos. That's coming from presidency. Tinubu hails Nigerian military. Japan pledges $5.5 billion to Africa. You'll find that story on the Matrix this morning. All right, Sokoto boat tragedy. NEMA end search as over 20 remaining missing. You'll find that story on page 9 of the Matrix this morning. All right, still on the Matrix, attack on core members. 8 vigilante operatives dismissed, face prosecution. NYSC vows to provide psychological psychological support to victims. You'll find that story on page 3 of the Matrix. Away from the Matrix this morning, we take stories from the Vanguard newspaper. Anger over planned pay rise for political office holders, just like other stories we have taken on some other newspapers. Salary hike for politicians provocative, says ACF spokesperson. Suspended, increments for now. Suspend increments for now. ADC tells FG it's wicked, selfish. That is coming from Northern Khan. Timing wrong, says ex-Nasima boss. Dele Oye. Proposal insensitive to suffering of Nigerians. You will find that story on Vanguard newspaper this morning. All right, also on Vanguard newspaper, reps summon 11 discos, over 2.6 trillion naira debt, owed FG. You'll find that story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Away from there, we also take story from the Daily Sun, outreach trails, planned pay rise for Tinubu. Others, I think all major news outlets also have these stories on their front pages this morning. Ogun APC slams indefinite suspension on Daniel Folani over anti-party activities. You'll find that story on page 27 of the Daily Sun. All right, go for continuous voter registration can urge Christians. Okay, you'll find that story on page 29 of the Daily Sun this morning. Furious Soludo BS Fang sacks vigilante for abuse of female youth corps member. You'll find that story on the top right corner of page 4 of the Daily Sun this morning. Away from there, we take stories from the New Telegraph. Also, Rep summons 11 discos, similar to what we have on the Vanguard newspaper. Also, there are other stories here. PDP asks court to sack 4 Osun lawmakers over defection. That's on page 6 of the New Telegraph this morning. I mean, there are so many other stories and reasons why party members also leave their political parties even after, getting elected into political offices, and of course cross-carpeting to other political parties. And then there is a strict instruction. There's a rule. There's a constitution that guides defection. If there's a crack in your political party, that means there's a chance you might move to another political party. So, is there a crack in the PDP? That is one question we'll be asking this morning. Of course, my analysis is around with whom we'll be making source of major stories on the pages of the newspaper this morning. Away from there, let's take this story on the Punch newspaper. 2027 showdown. Wike Makinde rift threatens high-stakes PDP convention. PDP vows a tough action as Wike associates move against convention. NEC members kick. You'll find that story on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Katsina Mosque terror attack death toll hits 32. That story is on the top left corner of the Punch, and you'll find that story there this morning. If you want to read more, get a copy of the Punch newspaper, and of course you can get that story there. Now, PFA's channel 62% of workers' pension into government bonds. You'll find that story on page 29 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Away from there, let's take a story from The Guardian. Road tax scheme stalls after delivering 2.6 trillion naira project. You'll find that story on page 6 of The Guardian. Also on The Guardian newspaper this morning, opposition parties reject proposed pay rise for political office holders. That story is synonymous to what you have on other papers this morning. 50% of teen girls are pregnant mothers. Minister laments. You'll find that story on page 2. 7,000 Nigerians stranded in Libya. NIDCOM reviews. That story is on page 3. There you see the picture of the chairman of NIDCOM, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Riwa, right there on the top right corner of The Guardian newspaper this morning. All right, also away from there, coming from the manufacturers, our raw materials stock at airports for weeks. Losses anticipated. You'll find that story, the business page of The Guardian newspaper. That will be on page 26 of The Guardian. Study shows that 4.3 million premature deaths yearly from unclean cooking fuel. That story will be on The Guardian newspaper this morning. Also, a story about Ibadan and Oyo State this morning. Oyo government sets Ladoja's coronation for September 26th. That story is on The Guardian. Away from The Guardian, let's take stories from Daily Trust. Victim's family kick as suspects get bail. That's coming from wedding guest killing. You'll find that story on Daily Trust this morning. Also, 70,000 minimum wage can't lift Nigerians out of poverty. That's coming from a report in the US. You'll find that story on Daily Trust this morning. Also, 15 farmers killed in fresh Plateau attack. I think insecurity in some parts of the country, Plateau, Benue, and some other parts of the country in the north central, northeast too, has not ceased to be on the pages of the newspaper. So I will take that story today and talk about security in that part of the country. Also, FG housing estates rot away in Nasarawa 4 years after inauguration. I mean, that's one thing that should be looked into. There was an inauguration of a housing estate in Nasarawa State, but of course, as it stands, it is actually rotting away, and most of these buildings are dilapidated already, even when no one has lived in those structures. All right, we'll take a short break, and when we return, I bring on board my analyst this morning, with whom we'll be making sense of major stories on the pages of the newspaper. We'll be back after this time out. All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. And this is the newspaper headlines and analysis segment where we'll make sense of stories on the pages of the newspapers this morning. I have with me in the studio, Lekan Shubali, with whom we'll be making sense of the major stories we have here on the newspaper this morning. Now, good to have you in the studio, Lekan Shubali. I'm fine. All right, there's a story that is on all newspapers this morning, and that's talking about TICAD 19, the TICAD 9 Expo, where the president visited Japan and also is to visit Brazil. And some people are saying you were there, but then your table is empty. So the presidency now replied that we were there for strategic engagement, not trade expo. What's your take on that story?
Well, like I used to say, Nigerian President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the first marketer. You know, Nigeria is a product, and the president is the first marketer that you have to go out and market the nation. You know, whatever that is on the table, we all watch the news report or the coverage of the events, and when they are saying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu table was empty, I don't understand what they are saying. Maybe they are expecting the table to. We saw what was on the table of other presidents. You know, I don't understand. Maybe they are expecting President Tinubu to. Maybe they are expecting table water or mineral soft drinks. I don't understand. But I think the most important thing is, in such a situation when the president traveled for such a summit and event, it is not really that event. You know, it is not really the summit, as we saw yesterday, you know, that really matters. You know, there are always,
caliber of people,
you know, aside from the caliber of people, there are always a kind of, you know, meetings, you know, interactive sessions, you know, that we may not have access to, that we may not be privileged to see. You know, the president, after the whole general summit, you know, behind closed door, you know, we take his time to meet with selected investors, selected businessmen. It is not that summit. It is not what we saw, you know, the convergence of presidents of nations that really matters. But aftermath that convergence, you know, the summit will not hold from morning till night, maybe 2-3 hours, they will depart. But you know what we used to see before now is that, you know, after the convergence, you see the president meeting with Nigerians in diaspora. You see the president meeting with the selected investors, selected businessmen, you know, selling Nigeria to them. So, you know, this Nigeria, the table was empty.
Now, let me add this. Japan pledges $5.5 billion to Africa. Isn't that part of what the president was there to do?
Yes. So, if Japan is planning such huge amount of money for the development of Africa, for the fact that Nigerian president is there, you know, Nigeria as a nation will have to be considered. So I think that should gladden his own heart, and that has emphasized the importance of the presence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at that event.
At that summit. All right, away from there, there's this particular story that is also on all pages of all major newspapers this morning. Tinubu seeks 2 seats for Africa at the UN Security Council. I mean, should it still be the president trying to seek for 2 seats, judging by the fact that the major part of where insecurity ravages the world, Africa will have to be, you know, ranked at the top, you know. But then the president is just seeking, you know, give us 2 seats. We want to be on this table. I mean, if something is happening to a person, it should not be decided by other people. You should be there to talk about your own issues. So why does it have to be the president, Tinubu, saying, look, we deserve to be on this table, and we don't just want one seat, we want 2 seats?
Well, before now, you know, there has been agitation for, even before Tinubu, I can remember from the days of President Goodluck Jonathan, you know, Nigeria has been advocating for the seat on the United Nations Security Council. Even as sometimes they were advocating for, I don't know what they call it, maybe part-time seats on the United Nations Security Council. I think it is very important for Nigerians to be, you know, looking at series of security threats, looking at the series of banditry, kidnapping. I think it is the right, and it is within the power, and it is within the privilege of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do this, because if he's not doing that, if he's not, Ghana, you know, has also been advocating. There was a time we have a South African envoy on this. So I think it is long overdue for Nigeria to also be part of this council.
Okay, now it's in Ibadan. Yesterday, news broke that the governor of the state, Governor Seyi Makinde, has okayed Oba Rashidi Adewale Ladoja as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, and September 26th was picked as the coronation day. What does that say about Oyo State as a state?
Ibadan specifically, you know, has been expecting the coming of His Imperial Majesty Oba Rashidi Adewale Ladoja. All of us knows that Oba Ladoja is a well-loved, you know, personality, not only in Ibadan, but in Oyo State. And for someone who has been a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who has been a governor of a state, you know, he is a staunch politician and a reputable personality, not only in Nigeria, across the world. So, you know, that tells you Ibadan will, for the first time, you know, apology to other Olubadans, you know, Ibadan for the first time will be having a king like in the caliber of Sultan Sokoto, I'm not talking about religion now. I'm talking about personality. I'm talking about, prominence. The assumption of Oba Rasheed Ladoja as Olubadan of Ibadan land, I believe we bring in so many good things for Ibadan land. I don't forget that for the first time in recent times, Oba Rasheed Ladoja is someone that still enjoys relatively good health. It can still move around. It can still be seen. It travels. It does so many things. Even as it will be 81 on September 25. You understand? So, and with that age, and with what we are seeing, he's enjoying a very good health. And for the fact that millions of Ibadan indigenes, not only Ibadan indigenes, residents of Oyo State, they love Oba Rasheed Ladoja. Don't forget what happened during the coronation of the late Olubadan Olakuleyin, where Oyo State government printed a program and they put at the back page a notice, one gazette, something like that, that many people believe that the Oyo State government want to deprive Oba Ladoja of being the Olubadan of Ibadan land. And you remember the kind of crisis that,
that was the insinuation.
You understand? Yes, that was insinuation. That's why I said some people believe that Oyo State government want to deprive Oba Ladoja of being the Olubadan. So, even though for someone, we all remembered what transpired and how the issue was resolved. So even though for the fact that Oba Ladoja was, is loved by his people, if it has been someone else, maybe everybody would have just been quiet and life goes on. But you can see the reactions of majority of Ibadan indigenes. So it shows that, Ibadan will be having a king that is well loved. It's not as if other Olubadans were not loved, but this, Ibadan indigenes, showed this, it shows on their faces, and they were so happy. 2 or 3 days ago, Oba Ladoja came into the town. You can see the kind of wealthy
was received with fanfare
that they gave to him.
Okay. Also, on the paper this morning, anger over planned pay rise for political office holders. Some people are saying, look, you can't afford to pay the political office holders more at this time when the minimum wage is even less than 100,000, is 70,000, and some states are not even paying that 70,000 at a minimum wage. And then you are saying, look, you want to add more money to what the governor hands. You want to give the members of the House of Assembly, members of House of Rep, senators, you want to increase what they take home. And it's not really about the take home for the people when we talk about political office holders. It's about other emoluments that comes with it, the other perks. You talk about furniture allowances, clothing allowances, and when you add that together, it's way beyond what they earn on a monthly basis. Now, with this situation, even the ADC has come out and some other pressure groups to say, look, this is not the time. It is quite insensitive to do this at this time. What would you say of the current situation and the RMAFC's decision to say, look, we want to do an upward review of the take-home for political office holders?
When I read it yesterday, I saw Shehu Mohammed, the chairman of RMFAC, talking about this increment. 2 things came to my mind, and I will be standing on the 2 sides. Specifically, members of the Federal Executive Council, since 2008, that was the last time the salaries were reviewed. And then, Shehu Mohammed told us that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's salary is 1.5 million naira, while we have ministers less than 1 million naira. But Shehu Mohammed failed to tell us, other emoluments, other benefits, other allowances. You are talking about someone that, president that a few months ago bought a car Escalade worth billions of naira, someone that bought an aircraft worth billions of naira, It's just as if these people, they are not, Nigerians don't really want anything from these people. we want to hear the truth. You understand? As in, you know, if talking about the National Assembly, you know, there are, as I don't know, I'm not too sure, because that's what, you know, because I'm not a member of the National Assembly, but what we know is that allegedly they take home, the senators take home 35 million naira every month. House of Reps take home 27, 28 million naira every month, and you are still talking about increments in this present day Nigeria. You know, governors 1 million naira or 900 and something thousand. Nobody is talking about the governor security votes that's worth 20, 25 billion naira. Like I still remember during the time of late Osimi Akeredolu, you know, late Akeredolu and his then deputy governor Agbola Ajayi, they had an issue. They had a kind of quarrel, and the Agbola Ajayi, yes, Agbola Ajayi was talking about the governor giving 12 million naira out of almost 2 billion naira, and now we are having Nigerian governors taking as much as 15, 20 billion naira security votes. You know, security votes that has no record. You know, nobody's asking.
Nobody asks questions.
You understand?
Isn't it high time that the government starts asking questions about how security vote is spent?
Yes, what they used to, even when we're asking questions as journalists, what they used to tell us that security is private, and you know, you don't discuss security in public, and that was that has been their argument. So, but I'm standing with Nigerians that this
and
is
the
not,
monies are being privately siphoned.
is seriously siphoned. You know, especially now that governors in Oyo State in the last 2-3 years, Oyo State got 4-5 billion naira, but now Oyo State is getting 18 billion, 17 billion naira. You know, I don't know. And you are still talking about, who is talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu taking 1.5 million naira? It's just as if, you know, these people are playing on the intelligence of Nigerians. You know, we have a minister in this state, in Oyo State, that in the last 1-2 weeks, you know, there have been a kind of, you know, public outcry and reactions that, you know, a minister less than 2 years has built a mansion, you know, very superb mansion, you know, and the minister was saying that, no, he has been on the project before he became minister. And these are the people you are saying they are getting less than 1 million naira monthly salary. And when you look at their lifestyles, you know, can you say their lifestyle shows that they are earning what you claim they are earning? So I just feel that, you know, Nigerians political officers should stop playing on the intelligence of Nigerians, because all these things they are saying is as if they are playing on the intelligence of Nigerians.
Okay, let's take this particular story. Talking about the landlord of the FCT, Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. There was news on the paper this morning that you were duly invited for the NEC meeting, but obviously was visibly meeting from the NEC meeting. And also, this links us to this story on the Punch newspaper this morning that says, Wike Makinde rift threatens high-stakes PDP convention. PDP vows tough action as Wike associates move against convention. NEC members kick. This has been a long-running battle between Nyesom Wike and some stakeholders in the PDP. He has been neither in or out of the party. He has always been on the fence. And of course, he says he's a member of the PDP, but then he works with the APC. And since then, we have seen other, you know, people in the party who have been kicked out of the party because of anti-party issues. But now, is Wike doing anti-party? Will it be a problem for the PDP ahead of their convention? Will it stop Seyi Makinde from doing what he wants to do with the PDP? Looks like the governor is about to take the structure of the party, because the convention is to be held in Oyo State. And then, is Seyi Makinde looking to take the structure of the PDP, judging by the fact that some say in some quarters, and we have seen some posters, even though it might not originate from the governor, that he wants to be president? See,
number one, you know, it is not wrong, and it is not any act of anti-party for Governor Wike to be serving in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It happens in 2000 and 2003 when late Chief Bola Ige, you know, blessed memory, you know, served in the cabinet of President Olusegun Obasanjo. As at the time, late Chief Bola Ige was a member of Alliance for Democracy, and he served as Minister of Power in the cabinet of President Olusegun Obasanjo. So it has nothing to, you know, serving in the cabinet of President Tinubu, you know, it has something to do with anti-party. But be that as it may, let me also tell you that, you know, former Governor Wike and now Minister Wike, see, is bigger than PDP. Because if it's not bigger than PDP, look at, in the last 2 years, they have been on this battle. As we speak now, Wike is having the, you know, the authentic National Secretary of PDP, Senator Anyanwu, in his camp. And in the last 6 months, what has been holding PDP to have his neck meeting, NWC and all those stuff, you know, was largely because of the inability of PDP to determine who his secretary is. And as you even speak now, Anyanwu, when you look at most of these meetings they are talking about, INEC has confirmed that Anyanwu is the authentic secretary of PDP. PDP has agreed. And when most of their meetings, Anyanwu don't attend. But when Wike is flagging off projects in Abuja, is inaugurating projects in Abuja, you see Anyanwu there. So, you know, Wike, you know, the issue of anti-party is not even arise now. You know, what we are saying is that Wike, as it is today, you know, is it will be so difficult. I don't know how PDP can manage Minister Wike. I'm talking about Governor Seyi Makinde. Yes, you know, in the southwest as of today, you know, the highest political office holder is Governor Seyi Makinde. You know, Governor Adeleke is still in his first term. He'll be seeking second term next year or later at the end of this year. But, you know, Governor Seyi Makinde, you know, going by some of his constituencies, you know, going by some of the other of his aides, you know, we have seen posters in Kano and all those stuff, and they are saying, though Governor Seyi Makinde has, you know, denied this several times, but, you know, when a politician tells you good morning, you better go out and check. It will always be good evening. So, and Governor Wike understands this politics. Governor Wike knows that Governor Seyi Makinde is planning, you know, is having a plan to contest against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So, and Wike will do all in his ability and capacity to stop anybody. You know, the real essence why Wike is doing all this thing is to stop PDP from presenting a presidential candidate to contest against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is the main essence, you know. You know, that a few months ago, when President Tinubu was talking, you know, was eulogizing Wike, President Tinubu told us publicly that he has one Wike, that most of these projects that you are inaugurating, that you are commissioning, I just hope you will not take the glory to PDP, because I'm the one that appointed you. You know, and everybody laughed at that event. So, President Wike, Minister Wike is a strong, you know, is an attitude politician. So you understand this game. So Minister Wike is just trying to frustrate the effort. You know, there was a time he said he will support PDP if PDP can present a southern candidate, because he believes that, you know, then Governor Seyi Makinde was with their team then, because he believes that PDP can never present southern candidates as far as Atiku Abubakar is there. Now Atiku Abubakar is out. So, you know, the whole thing is now tinting towards Governor Seyi Makinde that if PDP is serious and they want to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is better for them to get a southern candidate. And who is that southern candidate that PDP can use as we speak? It is Governor Seyi Makinde. And that's why you see Minister Wike trying to frustrate all of that. And I can assure you that as far as Wike is having the secretary of the party with him, he's having Dan Obi, chairman, vice chairman South, he's having vice chairman Southeast. You understand? At a side, he's having the acting national chairman. So as far as he's having all those people with him,
he has the party in his pocket.
He has the party. All these conventions, Seyi Makinde things will just be like a rules at the end of the day.
All right, thank you, Luka Shubowale, for joining us on the show this morning. It has been a wonderful session with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, see you again tomorrow on this show. All right, Luka Shubowale has been my analyst on this show so far on the analysis segment. Thank you for being a part of the show, for hanging on. Of course, you can link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch us live, and drop your comments. Let's go on a short break. And when we return, Daybreak Live continues. And of course, Yemi Adilakun is up with a big story.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Big Story. We are looking at the topic, the service year dilemma, delays, shortcomings, and the way forward. Let me begin with a brief history of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. It was established in 1963. The NYSC was pioneered to foster national unity and integration. In newly independent Nigeria, the scheme formally commenced in 1964, aiming to bridge ethnic and regional divides by deploying fresh graduates to serve in state other than their own. Today, over 6 decades later, NYSC remains a deeply rooted institution, but one whose relevance is increasingly questioned by graduates and civil society, citing security risk, harsh working conditions, and economic impracticalities. This brings us to the core of a discussion, the myriad of challenges confronting corps membership. Members, students, and young Nigerians during their service year. Many are posted to remote corners of the country, enduring long, dangerous journeys just to reach their orientation camps or places of primary assignment across multiple regions. Corps members have faced kidnapping threats, some tragically losing their lives. Teachers, for instance, are often overloaded with duties beyond their training or capacity, yet receive major allowances. Just recently, Raye, a corps member in Lagos, who criticized the government and the policies, are that discharge certificate withheld, while NYSC maintains this was due to a failure to attend mandatory April 2025 biometric clearance, thus extending her service by 2 months. Many see deeper implications in that decision. And recently in Anambra State, a group of corps members, including a young lady named Jennifer Edema Elo, was beaten, stripped naked by vigilante operatives despite presenting valid ID card. The Anambra State government has since dismissed the operatives, paid the victims' medical bills, replaced their damaged valuables, and apologized publicly. This incident underscored broader systemic failures, underfunding, weak oversight, broken protocols, and threats to the dignity and safety of those serving. To help us unpack this particular topic, I have with me Lekon Shobowale, who is a respected public affairs analyst and, of course, a journalist. Welcome on board.
Good morning, Yemi.
Good morning. Church, very well. I'm very well. All right, let's start from what led to the establishment of the NYSC scheme. I think it was established, just after the Civil War, that distorted a lot of things, and then the military government, then Yakubu Gowon, felt like, establishing NYSC would help foster the unity that was lost. Even apart from the Civil War, even the colonizers did a lot, by introducing divide and rule. So that was what we carried into the Civil War, and then things became worse. So NYSC was established to foster this unity, looking at the fact that when these children, when they go to serve in other regions of the country, they learn about their culture, they get married in that process. I mean, the families come together and they learn tolerance. But then that particular year when NYSC was established, now to 2025, do you think the reason why it was established is still there? Are we still seeing that functioning, that tolerance? Are we still seeing that unity in the lives of Nigerians?
Yes, just like I've said, the NYSC was established, by former President Yakubu Gowon, head of state Yakubu Gowon, shortly after the very early Nigerian Civil War, and then there were 3 objectives why the scheme was established then, because of the agony, and the trauma of Civil War, there were, visible divisions, among the Hausas and the Yorubas, and retired General Yakubu Gowon, felt that, okay, what can we do, at least to bring, ourselves together and establish NYSC, to reconstruct, to reconcile, and to rebuild, and that was the main essence why the scheme was established. But, the truth of the matter is that sometimes, where things work, in a system that works, NYSC as a scheme will have been reviewed. One would have expected that the, subsequent government, the successive federal administration will have taken their time to review this scheme. The only thing that the federal government do, as far as I know, is that they review the allowances of corpers.
Okay.
That's all what they do. But there was a time when we were having this issue of Boko Haram, during the tenure of former President Goodluck Jonathan. You know, there was a time that said they're not going to post NYSC to the northeast region of the country because of the problem of banditry and kidnapping. But I think, you know, NYSC is very... see, I am a beneficiary of NYSC. I'm a beneficiary because, you know, I got married, you know, I met my wife as a youth.
This is part of what we're saying.
Yes, yeah. I met my wife, you know, while we were serving in your state, you know. I, as a reporter, I went for an assignment at Ibora, and she was serving there, and I met her, you know. We started, and after a year we got married. So I can claim that I'm a beneficiary of that scheme. But be that as it may, it is important for the federal government, you know, the relevant agencies, you know, that have to do with NYSC to keep reviewing, because every year, you know, there are challenges, you know, there are issues, you know. It is not just about reviewing 33,000 to 45,000 to 77,000. No, you have to review the whole, you know, acts, you know, that establish, you know, this scheme, and you know that have been one of the major issues, you know, that the scheme, you know, it is, all this is because it's because of we hate all these things. There are some cases that we don't even hear of, you know, that has to do with, you know, NYSC, you know, the core members and all those stuff. So it is important for government to, there's a need for government to keep reviewing, you know, this scheme, because NYSC is very important, and so important. You can just imagine, you know, each year I always have requests that someone will call me and tell me that Shobo Walisi, my son was posted to Zamfara State, and I walked it down to Oyo State. Please help me get PPA where he can serve. You understand? And of course, as a journalist, you know, most of the state coordinators have always been our friends. So, you know, by that, you know, someone that is from Ogun State, identity of Ogun State, serving in Oyo State.
We've even seen people from Oyo State, you know, serving in the same Oyo State. So what's the sense? The objectives have been defeated, and I cannot blame them.
But do you think that is due to insecurity?
See, largely insecurity. Then you talk of, you know, the salary is meager, you know. Okay, someone from Oyo State is serving in Akwa Ibom, and you know, you are expecting that person, you are giving that person same 77,000 naira that you are giving to an indigenous of Oyo State who is serving in Oyo State. Sometimes they go, like I think late last year, Governor Seyi Makinde, you know, doing one of his public jokes, said he had a daughter. His first daughter then was, you know, served in Lagos State. Someone from Oyo State serving in Lagos State. You understand? You know, a daughter of a governor. You understand? So generally, it's as if some will say NYSC about leave its usefulness, but I don't want to believe that. I believe it is important, you know, very, very important for the federal government to review, you know, the acts, you know, that establish the NYSC. I think that is the most important thing. Or else, the whole thing is no longer making sense again. You know, we're talking about the vocational skills, you know, that we used to know, you know, with NYSC, you know, you are believed to, at least during the course of your 1 year service, you are expected to learn a trade. You understand? You know, now what is happening to all those vocational skills? You know, before now, you know, in the last 7-8 years, core members are known to, you know, you have a project, you know, in your PPA, in your place of primary assignments. That's okay. This is what we want to do. You know, like a group or like your batch, you know, that you want to embark on this project, then you start the project and complete that project. And so all those things are no longer there, you know. And even most of our coppers, they don't even stay at their PPA again. You see them, you know, with their uniforms walking around and...
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's one of the issues, and you've been able to, you know, expatiate on the matter, right? It's time for us to link up with another guest that we have this morning. I'm speaking about Comrade Mark Adebayo, who is also a public affairs analyst and, of course, an activist. Good morning, Comrade.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So I have a question for you, sir. You know, just like I asked Analyst Lekon Shoboale this morning, that, you know, the essence of NYSC, are we still seeing it? Because the reason why it was established was due to lack of unity amongst the regions, and of course, you know, that military government in that era felt like, you know, establishing that scheme will facilitate the unity that was deserved, and of course, you know, build tolerance amongst Nigerians. So are we seeing the essence in 2025, really?
No. Straightforward. The answer is no. It's negative. In fact, double negative. We are not seeing any of those benefits anymore. All those benefits have been eroded by lack of seriousness on the part of the government. As a matter of fact, NYSC has overstayed its usefulness. I doubt if it's of any use anymore. You know, what is now making it worse is the fact that what we didn't used to see in the southern part of the country was what happened in Anambra State 2 weeks ago, where a youth copper was stripped naked. I mean, it's crazy. Especially when it comes to the issue of safety and lack of common values, you know, there are some states in this country, there are some regions in this country that do not value education as much as we do in the south. So, if you remember the case of Blessing in Potiskum, a young lady who was teaching the primary school, a place of primary assignment, where she was attacked ostensibly under the guise that she taught a Quran that was not even present in the classroom that day. You know, a lot of places, the youth corpers are not safe, they are not protected, they are not secured by the government that says come and do national youth service. You know, and that's why some of us have been advocating that they should stop using youth corpers for national election duties, because they are always target of attack, they are always victims of electoral violence. So it would have been great if they had protection, they had security around them, and if there are assurances. For me, long time ago, I promised myself, none of my children is going to serve anywhere in some geopolitical zones of this country. No. Because they are not going to be safe, they are not going to be protected, and you know, because of activities of bandits and kidnappers that are overrunning the whole place. Even before that, these youth corpers are not safe once they are outside of their domain. That's why some of us started advocating a few years back that, okay, let each youth corper serve within their geopolitical zone. If you are from the southwest, if you are from Ekiti State, for instance, go and serve in Ogun State, and vice versa.
Okay, comrade.
Your geopolitical zone, so that you can be safe. Nobody wants to train a child in the university for 5 years and somebody will go and kill him or her or strip her naked somewhere.
Okay, comrade, if we do that, will it not alter the main essence of NYSC? Because the reason why it was established was to ensure, you know, unity and tolerance, you know, amongst different people of different regions, not just within the same geopolitical zone.
Yeah, that was the objective. But today it has been defeated. Long time ago it has been defeated. Is it not the same youth? If you go online now, you see Igbo versus Yoruba, Yoruba versus Igbo, Yoruba, and Igbo versus Hausa, Fulani. So online, how many of us are active on social media at this age? So now they are the ones. It's not showing the benefits of youth service anywhere. It doesn't show. It doesn't show. We are so ethnocentric in nature that you forget that, oh, you are from your state, you went to serve in maybe Zamfara or Adamawa State, but as soon as you are back in your place, as soon as you are online, and there is this banter, there is this attack, the ethnic attacks on social media today, we should majorly done by the so-called youth who have done national youth service. So it's no longer as it used to be. Why? One of the reasons being that if you look at the conditions in the camps, it's like it's no longer like National Youth Service Corps, it's like National Suffering Corps.
Really? But we still have good camps, comrade. We still have good camps in some states in Nigeria, comrade, that even corps members are interested in going.
What percentage of it? Okay. What percentage? You know, so this thing, don't let us even hide behind one finger. This system is either totally overhauled or is just cancelled. So to allow people, to allow students graduate and go and find their own way, or we change it to something like vocational training. That 1 year should be for vocational training, because there's no job anywhere, there's no white collar job anywhere anymore anyways. So maybe let's make it more useful.
But vocational training is part of the scheme.
This system.
Comrade, can you hear me? Vocational training is part of the system.
I know, but it's not intensive enough.
Okay.
I know. I've been there before. I know. So what I'm saying is that it should just be totally for vocational training, and people should, students or youth corpers should be made to remain within the geopolitical zone where they come from, so that there will be security for them, there will be protection for them. At least if you are from the Southwest, you understand the culture. Even if you are not born in that state, you understand the culture of that state. If you are born in the Northeast, you understand, it can take you to anywhere. But wherever you are from, we should not allow our youth to serve in volatile states where Boko Haram and other terrorists are active. Whether you are from that state or not, the fact that you are from that state should not mean that you should risk your life. Because terrorists don't differentiate between whether you are indigene or not indigene. They don't care. Kidnappers don't bother about all of that. They don't bother about your religion. They don't bother about where you are from. But in order for us to protect our children, volatile states where there is high level of insecurity, or places where there are high level of insecurity, nobody should post any youth corpers there. You know, I mean, because life is precious. Once it is lost, it is irreplaceable. We have the responsibility as parents, as a society, and as a government to be able to protect our youth and secure them, their present and their future. It's very, very important. We cannot, under the guise of saying people should do national service and begin to risk their lives. No, it really doesn't make sense. The objective has been defeated a long time ago, because in all this batch A, batch B, batch C, you see them clog up the system. You graduate 2 years, you are still waiting to be mobilized. I mean, there must be a total overhaul of this system. You know, it was one of the reasons, because the government can no longer cope. That's why they stopped the colleges of education from students from doing national youth service again. In fact, at the point they were even almost contemplating stopping the polytechnics, before people said, look, you can't do that because there's already this disparity between the university graduates and HND graduates, which, of course, if you look at it very well, is the same. BSc, BA, and HND should be the same. So the government should overhaul the system to make it more attractive to the students, to the youth. But for now, the way it is, that's why you see parents doing everything to make sure that they lobby to get their wards and their children to serve in states they believe where they will be protected, where they believe they are safe, where there is security. So that is it. The government has a lot to do in overhauling the entire system. If you overhaul it, make it more attractive, nobody will come and be complaining. People came out from around 10 years ago, started campaigning that, okay, in fact, scrap NYSC. It was that bad. And I'm not seeing any much improvement. Even it is better, like when we were collecting 350 naira, less than 500 naira, 350 naira. In those days, that's 30 years, 30 years ago, 350 naira is even more valuable than the 77,000 naira they are collecting today. And there was security everywhere. There was peace in Nigeria. You understand? But now, it's no longer the same. And if it's no longer the same, you cannot keep doing what you have been doing since 1973 to 2025. No, the world has moved on. The world has moved on long ago. Let us overhaul the system, to meet the challenges and the realities of the moment. I mean,
okay.
that is sine qua non.
Okay, thank you, Comrade. Let me turn to Leko Shoboale this morning, please. Let's talk about another. Please stay with us, Comrade Adebayo. Let's talk about Rayi's case now. I'm sure you've seen the stories where she was denied a passing out certificate because she made some comment about the government and especially about Lagos State. And then NYSC came out to say that we are not, we are not going to give her the certificate because of the things she said, but because she did not fulfill her April biometrics, and that is why we are not going to give her. And Rayi came out to debunk to say that, you know what, I was there. I was at my local government to actually carry out the activities, but I was denied. Even the LGI said I should get out of office. That was what she said. What do you make of this? Is this another window? Is this another area where, according to you and according to him, that NYSC has been defeated, in several areas?
Well, I think one of the essence of our establishment of NYSC is to inculcate morals in some of these youths. Okay. And I used to hear that NYSC, you are to be seen and not to be heard. You understand? But we are in the era of social media, where anybody can do anyhow, where anybody can say, I can sit in my bedroom and be abusing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I will always do that with my phone, and nobody can censor that, and nobody can edit. And so, I think the problem with Rayi, can be attributed to the insult. See, sometimes youthful exuberance, can always do some damages. The president of a nation is a national symbol, and you, as a member of National Youth Service Corps, you are more or less like a president, because each time you put on your uniform, that uniform symbolizes nationhood. So you are representing, wherever you go, when you put on that NYSC uniform, you are representing Nigeria. The uniform must be respected. And so the same thing goes to the president. The president is the father of the nation. It's just as if, how will you feel if you see someone, throwing insults at your father? Will you be happy? So it's as if, the lady, was seen in that video, insulting the president, castigating Lagos State government. There are better ways to do that.
But are there truth in some of the things that she said?
See, whether they are truth or not, that's not the issue. Okay. The issue is, when you want to make corrections, or as you're a youth corps member, it is part of the objectives of the scheme, that inculcating morals. What she did, have something to do with morals. At the end of the day, you can see that people went and started digging deep into her profile, where you saw naked pictures, the kind of lifestyles that she has been living in Lagos State. And so, one would have expected that, okay, maybe there are so many things that you can use social media to do, even if you want to gain traffic.
But apart from that, sorry to quote you, we also saw, things on her LinkedIn page, and from that, she's doing well. She's into some tech, the things, and then she's doing great in that aspect. So, should we not look at that side as well? See, Rayi came into the limelight. Immediately, she did what she did. If you go to her page, look at the followers, the likes, before she did what she did, then maybe she did it deliberately. But what I'm saying is that anybody can do anything. See, there are some things I cannot do. It's not because I don't want to do it. I would like to do it, but I cannot do it because of my status. Being a journalist, being a well-respected journalist of the state, being one of the leaders of journalists in the state, so many things that if I do it, it's not going to be, Lekan Shoboale, why do you do this? But, so many things will be questioned. And you call yourself the chairman of Christian Journalists of the state, and you call yourself this, and you call yourself that. I cannot do it.
So same thing applies to Raji. I disagree with what NYSC has done to her by not giving her a discharge certificate. I disagree. You know, that is totally wrong. But you know, the lady has been castigated. You know, you can give a lesser, you know, sanction, maybe a month extension, and you know, all those stuff, and not just for you to just unilaterally, you know, decided not to give her a discharge. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, if the young lady has understand, you know, the kind of, you know, her personality, even while she was serving, or why I don't know, maybe she's still serving, or
she's done serving.
Yeah, so you know, the lady also have understand, you know, most times it's as if they used to have 3 weeks orientation in camps, where I believe that all these objectives of NYSC should have been read out to them, so that, you know, in our days, you know, what they used to tell us that NYSC is just to be seen, you are not to be heard, you don't grant interview, you don't do this, you don't do that, just put on your uniform and be going. And that is, you know, we just do our things within ourselves, and you know, and even then we have social media then now, you know, but it's not as rampant as this, you understand. But we understand that if a journalist comes to me and said you want to interview, I say, no, I'm sorry, copper me. You understand what I'm saying? So you know, you need to, you know, the lady will have understand the kind of, you know, the position she was then, and what were those things that are expected from her, and not to just go to the extent of, you know, throwing insults, you know, castigating the state government, because the government you are castigating, the same government is still paying you your allowances. So why whatever you want to do, you can do that after getting your discharge certificate. So that's my take on that.
All right, thank you. Let me turn to Comrade Adebayo. Comrade, let's speak about Raye, and of course, okay, I think he's no longer on the call. So you were talking about the fact that, you know, this whole issue, she was wrong to have come out to say things like that, because it's still the federal government that is paying her. But then, can we look at it
just like a civil servant?
Okay.
A civil servant, you know, your state, a civil servant in the service of your state government, insulting Governor Seyi Makinde, it is wrong.
Okay. Can we begin to look at some of these laws, I mean, that surrounds this NYSC scheme, in terms of what the core members can do and cannot do? Because it is on this basis that you are saying she has no right whatsoever to insult whether the president or the governor of the state, or make some bad comments about the state. Can we begin to look at some of these laws? Because really, she's a core member, but she's still Nigerian. And so she can speak on some matters because she has freedom of speech. Can we begin to look at those laws?
But don't forget that, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but lawyers will tell us that, yes, you know, there are fundamental human rights, freedom of speech, but you don't abuse your freedom of speech. You know, you don't use because you have freedom of speech, you now have home theater in your room, you now start playing music that disturbs the neighborhood, that disturbs your co-tenants and all those. You don't do that. You know, you don't use your freedom of speech. Use your freedom of speech, you know, judiciously and meaningfully. You don't because you have freedom of speech. Does that make you to be, you know, insulting the president? You know, does that make you to? I watched the video and I just felt that NYSC. You know, you don't have to do that. But you know, be that as it may, yes, there is a need for us to look at the laws. You know, guiding as a Nigerian. You know, she's having a right to freedom of speech. You understand? Nobody is denying her that right. But what we are saying is that why do you have to, you know, for even let's put aside the president, you know, as a copper, do you need to insult anybody? Do you need to abuse anybody? You know, if you see anything that you think it is not right, you know, there are better ways through which you can do that, and not just going on social media. You know, for you to have gone on that social media, you know, it is not only limited to Nigeria alone. You know, it goes out of the country. You know, to other nations of the world.
Let's talk about the fact that she celebrated across the world, by corps members, because it was after that incident that the salary of the corps members was increased to 77,000. And people are saying, mostly youth are saying, if she had not done that, maybe that would not have happened. Yes, it has been on ground before that time, but then it was implemented shortly before. Yes, that's what I said.
Yes.
So don't you think it was an advantage, for a lot of corps members in the country? Because if she had not done that, maybe, it would not have been implemented even until now.
Before government jacked up 77,000 naira, before the federal government has been planning, upward review of NYSC salary allowance, even before Raye did what she did. Well, maybe I agreed, maybe because of what she did, and even what she did, the lady does not really specifically talk about salary or allowance.
She didn't talk about it directly, but she said, the cost of living is high, and then the pay
generally for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, so not specifically for corpers. And don't forget that, at the time Raye was doing this, Raye hails from the southeast part of the country. And at the time Raye was doing this, you can see, everything is politics. They brought in some level of politics into this, and you saw people like Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Kenneth Okonkwo, all of them.
Then there's also Showore from the southwest, because I even checked this post yesterday. He posted that he went to the headquarters to actually talk about why a certificate has not been given to her, and then they were not really attended to. They were told to come back that they are still processing the letter. So really, I don't think it's about region now. I think people are speaking up from across the country.
No, anybody can speak up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you, is that status, because of your status, because of who you are. You can, okay, Raye should be out of NYSC now. Yes, now you can come out and say anything. You can recall some of your experiences while you are serving. You can abuse the president. You can, because you have nothing to. You understand that you have nothing to lose. You don't have any business with any federal government or any state government. You can say anything. Many people have been coming out that, VDM, someone like VDM, it has nothing to do with any agencies of government. It has been out speaking. It has been, we have so many people that have been coming out to speak up. So, but what made the case of Raye to be different is just that because, he's a corps member. Like I said the other time that, during our time, I don't know if that still exists. What they tell us is that we are to be seen and not to be heard. Just like the normal civil servants, if you are not being delegated by the state government or by your guy at the top to go and speak anyway, you don't speak. So,
speaking on that line, sorry to quote you,
yes,
to be seen and not to be heard. Let's look at what happened in Anambra recently, where some vigilantes, known as Agone Chemba, assaulted some corps members, after they even showed their ID cards that they are corps members, and a lady was stripped naked. And of course, I read the report that is saying the lady is complaining about threats, that they're asking her not to speak up on the matter, or they might kill her. What do you make of this? Because you are saying corps members are supposed to be seen and not heard. Are they not supposed to speak up about the injustice? Because some Nigerians have even said this is the highest level of rascality. How do you beat up, even if they are not corps members, how do you beat up people like that, strip her naked, and then the video is circulating online?
Yes, I've been following that case, and it happens in July. I think it happened in July 23rd or 24th.
No, it happened, I think, last week, recently.
No, okay, not at all. Not at all. It happened in July. It's in July 23rd or something. Not this month. It happened last month. But I've been wondering that something that happened last month, why are we now seeing that in the last 3-4 days? But, during my investigation, I tried to dig deep, I have a friend there, and I asked my friend some few questions, and the guy was telling me that yes, it happened last month, and the case was reported to, I think, special advisor to the governor on community relations or something like that, who happened to be the supervisor that is supervising the Agone Chemba security outfit, and that they have and the man said yes, it happened he invited the officers, you know, that were involved in the case, and he interrogated the officers, he interrogated the lady, and they confirmed, and they said yes. And the ambassador, he said the man said yes, that we are going to prosecute this case. But the lady and the mother said they are not interested in pursuing the case, that they don't want to follow up the case. Possibly, maybe, you know, just like you have said, maybe there have been some a kind of threats and intimidation from some. Yeah, so that's why the lady and the mother said they are not interested. The SSA, the special advisor at the SSA, said they invited the lady and the mother, that they are going to take the case to the court. They are having the 5 case on the table, and they said no. But thank God, somehow the video, you know, got to the public domain and now trending, and you know, people were asking questions that even if the lady said she is not interested, the mother said she is not interested, the Anambra State government ordinarily should have taken up that case, terminated the appointment of those people, and you hand them over to the police. You know, this should be, you know, a case between these people and the state government. So it is not, it should not be the case between the guys and the lady and her mother, because what happened? They said they are carrying out a search, that they were thinking that some unholy activities were going on in that compound, where we have not only Jennifer, I think the name is Jennifer, the lady.
Hello.
So not only that lady, but we have some other couples in that lodge. So what kind of unholy things do you think might be going on there that made you to tore the lady's clothes, that you almost saw her naked?
I mean, they said that they did that, or maybe they entered the compound because they were chasing some courtiers, and then they thought those guys were fraudsters, and then the core members presented their IDs to say we are core members. And
that should have been that should have been the final. So why trying to you know nobody knows Zayn mind, you know, will have supported what those are Agune Chamber or what's their name did. You understand? But thank God, you know, they have been sacked, and according to the special advisor to the governor who is overseeing the stuff, you know, they were paraded yesterday. We saw them in handcuffs, and the man said they have been handed over to the police, and the Anambra State government will be charging them to court.
Do you think this will not be swept under the carpet? Because if it took them a while for it to come to the public domain, and now we are hearing about it, because even if there was not a video, if there was no video at all,
yes, we
might not have heard about it.
Sure.
But have been buried. So do you think this will be done, you know, perfectly?
Yes, I think this case. I think this case we are going to see to the end of this case, because of so many interests that are involved. Don't forget, you know, aside from the Anambra State government, we have the NYSC itself now. The NYSC has body, the Director General coming out to condemn this, and they are saying they are ready to prosecute this case to the end. We have the National Heritage Agency saying that they are going to follow up the case and make sure that this guy are convicted, so that it will be as a deterrent to others who may be thinking of such kind of attitude. So it can never be swept under carpet. We are going to see to the end of the case. All
right, I think it's a good place to leave it. A big thanks to Leko Shobowale, who is a journalist and public affairs analyst, for, you know, gracing this program with his presence this morning. Thank you so much. Right, this is where we say Biwahi, and as we round off today's discussion on service dilemma, the latest shortcomings and the way forward. One truth stands out: the NYSC program, though born from noble intentions, is now weighed down by insecurity, economic realities, and systemic inefficiencies that undermine the very youth it was designed to empower. We have heard of core members forced to work beyond their capacity, exposed to life-threatening risk, denied certificate for controversial reasons, and even assaulted by those meant to protect them. These stories reveal a painful reality. Our young graduates are paying too high a price for a scheme that ought to honor and safeguard their service. The way forward demands transparency, fairness, security, proper welfare, and respect for fundamental rights, whether through reform or replacement. The NYSC must be recalibrated to reflect today's Nigeria, a Nigeria where unity is built not by fear or coercion, but by justice, empowerment, and opportunity. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun, and I'm saying thank you for staying with us. Please, we'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Now we move straight to Trend Watch this morning. I still have with me in the studio Oluwayemi Adelakun, who will be making sense of major stories. Of course, Trend Watch this wonderful morning. This particular story is coming from the FCT, and talking about the Nigerian police.
Okay.
Yesterday, there was a video on social media where uniforms were distributed to police personnel. And then there are questions about should we still be having this kind of videos on social media. I mean, there was still a press release, released mainly for that purpose, and it says the Nigerian Police Force has commenced the distribution of police uniforms to personnel across various zones, including Zone 2 of Bauchi. This initiative has generated jubilation among the personnel, who have expressed their gratitude to the police leadership for the gesture. All right, the distribution of uniforms is expected to boost the morale of personnel and enhance their professionalism. The new uniforms will enable officers to perform their duties with increased confidence and pride. I mean, I don't want to go into every other detail, but then obviously it shows that this is not a routine. It's not like they have been doing this for a long time, but then this more coming as a morale booster to some police officers in some regions. Now, the question is, originally, should police officers buy their own uniforms, their boots? Should they be buying it? And then if they should, then why should we have, this kind of video on social media trending saying we have given them? And really it saddens me because it's not like they sold that uniform. It was just material. And then when you check the comments, people are saying a lot in the comment section.
I think, you cannot blame the policemen for jubilating. Maybe some of them have been thinking about how to get just material and just give it to someone they know so they can have something to wear. Because if you see the uniform of some of these policemen on the road, speaking about the boots, you feel sorry. because you begin to wonder what is going on. So if the government cannot provide basic things like that, I think it's an issue. And we are still talking about the issue of, salaries, let's increase their salary. Chiwore has been on that case. He was even arrested because of that. So I think it's an issue that, the government should look at. Okay, you can't blame, I don't blame the policemen for jubilating.
Let's just take a few of comments. And I think K-Fash Bespoke says, the material then give them, make them no give their tailor. I mean,
and Ombu Celestino is saying, is this something that should be advertised? Really, I don't see why we are seeing the video online. They can jubilate in their offices and rooms, and we don't have to.
Not online.
Definitely, we don't have to know about this. Definitely.
Also, Style 360 says, for uniform, I thought they increased their salary. Now, uniform, then they write press statements for.
Let me reply this person in case he decides to watch this show. They never increase salary. They're still on the matter. Definitely.
Right. I think the last comment here says, oh Lord, celebrating uniform in this
era. You cannot really blame them, because of what some of them have been going through. Because it is out of that salary that is not enough. That some of them are taking out, to buy the material and give to a tailor, and they still have to pay the tailor. So when they have the uniform, allow them celebrate in peace.
All right, we simply have to go. Of course, up next is the agenda with Chike Ogogo. Of course, thank you for being a part of the show so far. We say thank you for being with us on this show and staying glued to your TV set. Until tomorrow, when we shall be meeting you again on another fresh and interesting edition of Daybreak Live Extra, the Friday edition. I say keep being good out there, keep being safe. Bye for now. Samson Balogun is my name.
All right, thank you for being a part of the show. Do to join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And I would like to say this to the policemen. Please keep fighting until it gets better. My name is Loayemi Adelaku. I'm saying good morning.